888-7753-773. Let me go to Canada and talk to Grace. Grace, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Jesse. How are you doing today?
Hey, Grace, your phone is not coming through clear.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay, perfect. How are you today?
All is well, Grace. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to call to kind of ask you about, how to get over the idea of loneliness, which I noticed, like, in your monologue, you did kind of touch on that. Just because, like, just to give you a bit of context, yesterday I had a phone call with my dad, and things were kind of getting heated, and in the moment, like, I realized I was getting emotional, but I still, like, went ahead and overreacted. And so I said I was going to come home and visit, but then I recounted on it. And then, sorry, I'm, like, kind of nervous. I don't know why.
No, relax. Take a breath.
Yeah. So and so when I said I wasn't going to come home, he was trying to convince me, oh, come home. You know, your brother, he's alone. He's all lonely. So I started getting all emotional. And then I was like, okay, I'll come home. And then I called back and I was like, I wasn't going to come home. And I realized in that double-mindedness, like that conflict between coming home and not, like, just being emotional, it's like a fear of loneliness that I have. Like, I don't want to be alone, because thus far, like, when I'm overcoming the thoughts, like, I've just been by myself. Like, I don't have anyone that I talk to. I've just kind of lived my life, like, on my own. So now when I have the opportunity to, like, be with other people, especially my family, like, I'm not taking advantage of that. But then on the other hand, I'm like, but it was out of emotion and out of overreacting. So it's like, how do I overcome that? Like, how do I overcome that feeling of, like, I'm lonely? Because it is causing me to overreact in ways that I can see it, but I'm not, I'm not in a position where it's like watch it and let it pass.
So your question for me is, how do you, Grace, overcome the feeling of loneliness?
Before I ask my question, I want to thank you.
Yeah, like, how do I overcome that? Because in that situation,
I think I'm on a break. Hold on a minute, okay?
Yeah,
hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
I gotta tell you.
I want to go quickly back to Grace out of Canada, and Grace want to know, how does she overcome loneliness? Am I right, Grace?
Yeah.
And tell me, who is lonely?
I want to say that it's not me, but if that's the case, then I shouldn't have to, like, it shouldn't be a problem, like, it's not me. But then again, it's like, then if it's not me, then why am I not over it?
Why are you not over what? But who is not over it?
Then not me, I guess, that you say it like that.
Who is not over it?
Then not me is not over it.
And how can the not you not be over it?
How can the not me not be over it? Well, then it can't, because then it wouldn't. It's not there, is it?
It's not there. Have you ever considered for a moment or second that the thought, and we'll just deal with loneliness only because there are many deceiving spirits inside the human mind and emotion. Have you ever considered for one moment that the idea of loneliness is just an idea? It's just a thought. It doesn't even exist, period. It's just a false, fake, lying, spiritual, evil, wicked thought, but it's not real.
1,000%. When I'm not in my thoughts and I'm presently aware, I'm not, like, I don't even, it's a foreign thing. Like, there's no such thing as loneliness, because what is there to be lonely for?
Not only what is there to be, but who is there to be lonely? There is no grace there to be lonely. And so if there is no grace, how can you be lonely?
So, okay, so then when I take it back to, like, the that incident yesterday with the whole, like, come home and then that back and forth, then what was that? Like, was I...
You overreacted. You went unconscious. You went into your imagination, which is evil, and it told you that you were lonely or that you need to go home. My poor brother, or whatever your daddy was saying.
Yeah.
You went unconscious. Had you come back to consciousness, meaning that you come back to just being present and not being in your head thinking about the fight you had with your father or I'm lonely. Had you not, then the idea would not have happened had you, because you would not have overreacted. But because you overreacted, had you come back to present, that thought, that idea would have disappeared.
Okay.
It's just a thought and emotion. And that's the thing that human beings don't want. Ego. It's all ego. It's all pride. But that's the thing that human beings don't want to die from, because they say if they die from those false ideas, who will they be? They feel like they won't be anyone. They won't have anything to identify with, no one to identify. So they want to hold on to that.
So even now, like, the fact that I've been on my own for this long, because it's been like 3 years straight.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything that I feel that way.
Nope.
Like, it doesn't even matter.
It's not even matter. It's not you, and it's not real. You're just unconscious. You're living in a time zone of past and future, and that's where evil and all his little demons dwell. And that spirit of loneliness is an evil demonic spirit that the world has called loneliness. And so they've told you you are lonely, so you grew up believing that you were lonely. And even when you're around a crowd, you're still lonely.
Yeah, that's I won't even deny that, because that's so true. Like, that's, like, I'll go out on my own and then I'll see groups of people and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is not normal that you're by yourself. Why?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So that's just live in it and just see it.
What I would highly recommend, Grace, is that you come back to consciousness. Don't call those things. Stop calling them you. Never say I'm lonely, and don't let your daddy. If your daddy tell you that, don't fall for it.
Okay.
And you can't do anything about your brother being lonely. That's his problem, not yours. He got the same demons that you have.
Yeah.
You're not your brother's keeper.
I'm not my brother's keeper.
Though I be strong and weeper, before you judge me, why not try to love
me? Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the one thing I had to forgive my parents for, is that anytime they wanted something from me or they wanted me to do things, like, they would use my brother all the time. Like, oh, you see your brother's going through this and going through that. And it's like, in that moment, yeah, I overreacted, because it was like going back to that hell again.
Yes. When they do that, just tell them, you know what? Don't tell me about my brother. I'm not my brother. Keep it. That's your baby. It ain't mine. Y'all made that.
Yeah.
And they have to. How old is your brother?
He's 10.
You're not responsible for your brother. That's their job.
Yeah.
So don't argue with them about it. Don't let them put that on you. Don't let them make you feel responsible for your brother. You're not responsible for him at all. Zero. That's their job. They the daddy and the mama of that boy. But so here's what I recommend. When the thought, because it's just a thought, until you overreact to that thought and attach emotion to it, right? But when that thought comes, just know that, watch it, stay with it, meaning that don't try not to see it. You want to see it, but don't call it you. And the light of the Father, the love of the Father, will take those spirit away. That spirit called loneliness would be taken away from your mind and emotion, because it's not you at all.
Okay.
So don't ever call it. Stop calling these false identities inside of you. They are not you.
Okay.
Don't ever say, I feel, unless you communicating, you're trying to say, I used to feel that way. You're doing it consciously, right? You're speaking consciously. But don't ever say, oh, I'm so lonely. I am so afraid. I am so this and I am so that. Stop saying I because you're calling evil you and you identify with it. And then you don't want to die from that false identity. But in order to live, you must die. You must die from the ego, the false self, the thoughts and the feelings. All thoughts and all feelings are lies all the time.
So I'm just supposed to keep seeing it and watching it and don't accept it as myself. And then in time, like, well, not in time, but like when God wants to, then he'll take it away from me.
All you have, I was talking with someone yesterday, and he said that the one thing, he used to go to counselors and all kinds of stuff for help. And he said that he didn't know, the one thing he did not know, that there was nothing he can do about all those things, depression and suicidal thoughts and emotions and all that. And he realized when he heard me say, don't do anything, there's nothing you can do, he stopped trying to do anything. That's when he got better. There's nothing you can do. You can't do, your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, Jesse, or anyone can do anything about it. All you need to do is watch it. That's all you can do or need to do is to watch. From within, you want to live from within, and from within, you want to become the watcher.
Okay.
That's all you need to do is watch.
And that makes sense now, because I know oftentimes you'll ask, like, why do people, not want, like, why don't people want to overcome their hell?
Yeah.
And when we're having this conversation and you're talking about how there's nothing you can do, I notice that even when I do want to change, like, I don't want to, on the other hand, because if there's one thing that I've been struggling to accept, it's that there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Like, there's still a part of me that believes there's something I can do and there's something I need to do. And I need to stop that.
Absolutely. There is literally nothing you can do about the demons that's inside your mind and emotion, but watch them and do not call them you. And by chance, did you hear the church service yesterday?
No, I hadn't, and I need to definitely look into it from what you said in today's monologue.
Do you know that you have amnesia?
Like forgetfulness?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have amnesia.
Yeah.
You knew you have amnesia?
Well, I didn't know, I know that I forget for sure. Like, I remember there was one service that you did, and you said the greatest sin is forgetfulness.
Yeah.
And I see that for sure. Like, when I'm in the thoughts, I'm completely, like, forgetful. Like, I don't remember.
But there is something else that you have really forgotten. Every human being on earth has forgotten this one thing.
What's that?
There are other things along with this one thing, but the one primary thing to prove that you have amnesia.
And what is that? What does it have? What kind of amnesia do I have? Or what?
You have forgotten who you are. Every human being have forgotten who they are, and they go, and in that state of amnesia, they go and take on all false identity because they have forgotten who they really are, and they forgot their way back to the Father. They forgot their way back home.
So how do I remember?
By staying present. And stop calling the false road signs along the way back home. The sign of the sign of loneliness, the sign of depression, suicidal thought, along the way, the sign of this. Stop calling them you. Stop calling them the right sign, and you will appear when you stop identifying with the wrong you, and you'll find your way back home to the Father. Because that's what human beings are looking for. They want to remember who they are. Well, most people don't, but those who want to, They don't remember who they are. Nobody knows knows who they really are. They don't know who they are. You ask people, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" I'm a doctor. No, that's what you do. I'm a child of God. They say. No, that's who you
Yeah.
think you belong to. I'm this. They tell you what they do. They never can tell you who they are. You forgot who you are, and you forgot the way back to the Father, back home.
And what's it like? What's it like knowing who you are? Like, have you gotten to that point, Jesse?
You're gonna find out when you get there who you are. Take no thought about that now. Don't take no thought about tomorrow. You work
Okay.
on overcoming who you're not.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you
That helped
doing?
me a lot.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
Every morning, every night,
Stay,
every day.
stay with it. Just stay with it. And when you fall off the road that leads to life, come back. Just come back. Come back to consciousness. Be aware. That's all. If you go in and out, you fall off the road 1,000 times a day. You come back 1,000 times, meaning you come back to present.
Even after the thoughts are so overwhelming, you just come back and
One-
it's like nothing happened.
That's all you need. That's right. Because nothing did happen. Nothing happened at all. You just thought it happened because you went unconscious, but nothing happened. It's all an illusion.
That's so evil.
It is. That's the devil's job,
my
is to
God.
deceive us in the imagination. If he can deceive you in the mind, he got you.
And what's crazy is when I come back to the present, I'm the one who suffers for it. Like
Yes.
after overreacting,
Yeah.
it's not the devil's fault. Like it's on me,
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely.
Crazy. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So relax and live your life. Stay present.
Okay.
And forget about
appreciate
everybody
that.
else.
Sounds good. Amazing.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Jesse. Have a good one.
You too.